Hello, welcome to another video on our channel. Here, we translate testimonies from people who have had near-death experiences and other spiritual experiences. Today, let's learn the story of Tristan Hawk. He says he died in an accident and had visions of the spiritual world and events in September 2024. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now. Leave a comment with your name and city. Let's now hear Tristan's testimony. My name is Tristan Hawk, and I have a story to tell that has completely changed my perspective on life, death, and everything in between. I was born and raised in the vast plains of Colorado, on a small farm that, despite being modest, has always been my safe haven. From a young age, I learned to value the simple things: family, hard work, and connecting with the nature around us. I have never been a man of many words, but I have always dedicated my life to those I love. I married Mira, an incredible woman who brought light to my life and gave me two wonderful children, Lily and Theo. Our life was simple but full. We worked hard, loved intensely, and lived with gratitude for everything we had. Today, as I share my story, I am sitting in our home in Aspen, Colorado. The space around me is filled with memories. Family photos on the walls, Theo's toys still scattered across the floor, Mira's favorite perfume still wafting through the air. Each object tells a story. Each memory is a treasure that I cherish. I never imagined that a simple family Easter trip would turn into the biggest tragedy of my life. But it was precisely in this moment of pain and loss that I experienced something that challenged everything I believed I knew about life and death. I was on the brink of the end, and on that threshold between two worlds, I discovered truths that forever changed my view of love, existence, and the meaning of truly living. As I tell my story, I feel the weight of the revelations I have received and the responsibility to share them. Every word I say is charged with emotion. Every pause is filled with deep reflections on what I have experienced. My voice may shake at times, but my determination to share this experience remains unshakable. What I'm about to tell you may seem unbelievable to some, but I can assure you that every detail is etched in my mind and heart with a clarity that defies time. This is the story of how I lost everything, came to the brink of death, and came back with a purpose greater than I ever imagined. It was a seemingly ordinary spring morning as we began our journey home after the Easter break. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of wildflowers and the promise of new beginnings. We had spent a wonderful weekend in southern Utah, visiting Mira's parents, an annual tradition that always brought us joy and renewal. We woke up early that day, the sky still painted with the soft tones of dawn. Mira, always attentive, suggested that we stop for a final farewell to her parents. There was something in his eyes, a shadow of sadness, that I couldn't understand at the time. She hugged them for a long time, as if she knew it would be the last time. The car was loaded not only with our suitcases, but with Lily and Theo's laughter, their excited voices echoing as they retold Easter stories. The sound of their voices is a memory I hold dear, a precious reminder of the final moments of our complete family. As we drove along the winding road that cut through the mountains, I felt a mix of emotions: gratitude for the family we had built, anticipation for returning to our routine in Aspen, and a subtle restlessness that I couldn't explain. The scenery around us was breathtaking: majestic cliffs, deep valleys, and a vastness that seemed to embrace the sky itself. The hours passed, and fatigue began to set in. The normally challenging road seemed even more treacherous that day. The newly melted snow made the asphalt slippery, and the sharp curves required all my concentration. Mira, noticing my tiredness, offered to drive, but I, in my characteristic stubbornness, insisted that I was fine. It was in this moment of exhaustion and excessive confidence that everything changed. A particularly sharp turn, a moment of distraction, and I felt the car lose control. Time seemed to slow down as he fought to regain control of the vehicle, but it was too late. I heard Mira's frightened scream, saw the terror in my children's eyes in the rearview mirror, and then, the impact was violent. The sound of twisting metal and shattering glass filled my ears as the car rolled over repeatedly. Every second felt like an eternity, each impact a blow to my soul. When we finally stopped, a deafening silence took over everything. In that moment, suspended between consciousness and darkness, I didn't know that my life had changed forever. I didn't know I was about to embark on a journey that would challenge everything I believed about life, death, and the purpose of our existence. The impact was like nothing I had ever experienced before. The moment the car started to roll over, I felt as if time had slowed down. Each second stretched into an eternity. Each rotation of the vehicle was a universe of terror and confusion. The sound was deafening, metal twisting, glass shattering, the muffled screams of my family. I remember seeing the world spin around me, heaven and earth changing places in a macabre dance. The smell of burning rubber and gasoline invaded my senses, mixing with the metallic odor of blood. I felt each impact as if it were a direct blow to my soul. My body was thrown against the seatbelt, the pressure so intense I could barely breathe. I saw flashes of faces, Mira, eyes wide with fear, Lily, screaming in panic, Theo, silent and pale. Each vision was like a knife in my heart. When the car finally stopped turning, we fell into an oppressive silence. The contrast with the previous chaos was shocking. I lay there, hanging upside down, struggling to understand what had happened. The pain was intense but strangely distant, as if my body was disconnecting from my mind. I tried to move, to call for my family, but my body wouldn't respond. I felt a warm liquid running down my face. Blood, I realized with a shiver of horror. The smell of smoke began to grow stronger, and a primal fear took hold of me. We needed to get out of there, but I was helpless, trapped in the wreckage of what was once our family car. It was in this moment of absolute despair that something inexplicable happened. I felt a strange lightness come over me, as if my consciousness was expanding beyond the limits of my injured body. The pain began to subside, replaced by a floating sensation. Suddenly I realized that I was looking at the accident scene from above. I saw our car destroyed, a twisted mass of metal and glass. I saw my own body, still strapped into the driver's seat, blood oozing from a deep gash in my forehead. And then, with a horror that words cannot describe, I saw Mira and Theo, still and silent. The reality of what was happening hit me with overwhelming force. I was having an out-of-body experience, floating above the scene of the accident that had taken the lives of my wife and youngest son. The emotional pain was unbearable, but at the same time, I felt an inexplicable peace taking over me. It was in this moment of transition, suspended between life and death, that my true journey began. A journey that would take me beyond the limits of physical existence, show me truths I never imagined, and bring me back with a purpose that would change not only my life, but potentially the course of history. As I floated above the accident scene, an indescribable feeling of peace and clarity came over me. It was as if all earthly worries and pains had been left behind with my physical body. I watched the scene below with a mixture of detachment and deep compassion. I saw first responders arriving, their sirens cutting through the silence of the mountain. I watched them work frantically to extract us from the wreckage. I wanted to scream, to tell them to hurry, to save Mira and Theo, but I had no voice. I was a silent spectator of my own tragedy. Then I realized I was not alone in this ethereal experience. A warm, comforting presence was felt at my side. I turned and saw Mira, radiant and uninjured, smiling at me with infinite love. There was no need for words. Our thoughts and emotions flowed freely between us. Mira showed me visions of our life together, our first date, our wedding, the births of our children. Every memory was vivid and full of love. But then, she gently guided me away from the scene of the accident, toward a bright, welcoming light that seemed to call out to us. As we approached the light, I felt an overwhelming sense of unconditional love and acceptance. It was as if the entire universe was hugging me, reassuring me that everything was okay, that everything had always been and would always be okay. At that moment, I understood that death was not the end, but a transition to something much greater. Mira then turned to me, her eyes full of wisdom and compassion. Without words, she made me understand that it was not my time to stay. There was something I still needed to do, a greater purpose I needed to fulfill. She showed me Lily, our oldest daughter, alone and scared in the hospital. I understood that I needed to come back for her, to care for her and guide her through the grief and pain that was to come. But before I could protest, and in the midst of it all, I saw myself playing a crucial role in these events. I understood then that my return was not just for Lily, but for something much bigger. There was a mission, a divine purpose that I needed to fulfill. The implications were frightening, but I felt a determination rise within me. With one last look of love, Mira hugged me. I felt your love, your strength, and your faith in me flowing through that hug. Then, gently, she pushed me back toward my physical body. The light began to dim, and I felt the pain and weight of physical existence returning. When I opened my eyes, I was back in my broken body, surrounded by paramedics working frantically to keep me alive. The pain was intense, but it carried with it the peace and purpose I had experienced. I knew that my life would never be the same, and that the journey that awaited me would be challenging beyond imagination. But I also knew that I was not alone, and that every step of this journey would have a greater purpose than I could understand. Returning to my body was like diving into an ocean of pain. Every nerve seemed to scream in agony. Every breath was a struggle. The sounds around me were muffled, as if I were underwater, but I gradually made out urgent voices and the sound of medical equipment. I opened my eyes with difficulty, the bright light of the paramedics' flashlights momentarily blinding me. I tried to speak, to ask about my family, but my voice wouldn't come out. A paramedic noticed that I was conscious and started asking me questions, checking my level of consciousness. I was pulled from the wreckage of the car carefully, each movement sending waves of pain through my body. As I was being placed on the stretcher, I was able to turn my head enough to see the destroyed car. The sight filled me with horror and guilt. Where were Mira and the children? Why didn't I see them? The ambulance ride was a blur of sirens, strained voices, and searing pain. I fought to maintain consciousness, clinging to the memory of what I had experienced during my out-of-body experience. The peace I had felt now seemed so distant, obscured by the physical and emotional pain that consumed me. At the hospital, I was immediately taken to the emergency room. Doctors and nurses moved quickly around me, their urgent voices discussing my injuries. I picked up snippets of their conversations: multiple fractures, internal bleeding, possible head trauma. Every word was a reminder of the gravity of my situation. Between moments of consciousness and darkness, I clung to the memory of Mira and the mission she had entrusted to me. I needed to survive, not just for Lily, but for the greater purpose that awaited me. This determination gave me the strength to fight, even when my body felt like it was giving up. The hours dragged by, filled with exams, surgeries, and moments of intense pain. Every time I closed my eyes, I feared I wouldn't open them again. But each time, the image of Lily, alone and needing me, pulled me back. It was during one of these surgeries that I had another near-death experience. As my body struggled on the operating table, I felt that feeling of weightlessness and expansion again. This time, I was taken to a place I can only describe as home. The peace was absolute, and I felt complete in a way I had never experienced before. In this place, I found Theo. He was in a crib, smiling at me with that pure innocence that only children possess. A divine presence surrounded us, radiating love and forgiveness. There, I released all the guilt I carried for the accident. I understood that life is not a test, but a gift, an opportunity for growth and love. Once again, I was gently guided back into my body. I returned with renewed clarity and purpose. I knew my healing journey would be long and difficult, but I also knew that each step would have greater meaning. In the days and weeks that followed, I struggled not only with my physical recovery, but also with processing everything I had experienced. The visions of the future that Mira had shown me remained vivid in my mind, mixing with the pain of loss and anxiety for what was to come. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, I was allowed to see Lily. The moment she walked into my hospital room, her eyes red from crying and her body shaking with emotion, was both heartbreaking and invigorating. I hugged her as tightly as my injured body would allow, silently promising that I would do everything in my power to protect and guide her through the difficult days ahead. I felt a profound transformation occurring within me. The near-death experience had given me a new perspective on life and death. I started to see the world in a different way. Colors seemed more vibrant, sounds clearer, and every moment carried a deeper meaning. It was as if a veil had been lifted, allowing me to see the interconnectedness of all things. My physical recovery was slow and painful. I had to relearn how to walk, how to use my hands, how to perform simple tasks that I previously took for granted. Every little bit of progress was a victory, not just for me but for Lily, who stood by my side tirelessly. Your presence was my beacon in the darkness, constantly reminding me why I needed to keep fighting. At the same time, I began to experience inexplicable changes. Sometimes I could feel the emotions of those around me as if they were my own. Other times he had flashes of intuition that proved surprisingly accurate. It was as if my connection to the spiritual world had remained open after my near-death experience. These new skills scared and fascinated me at the same time. I didn't know how to deal with them or how to explain them to others. I decided to keep them a secret, at least for now, focusing on my recovery and taking care of Lily. As my body healed, I dedicated myself to emotionally processing everything that had happened. I spent long hours in therapy, working through grief, guilt, and fear. I learned to accept that although I couldn't change the past, I could shape the future with my actions and choices. It was during this time that I began to truly understand the purpose that Mira had shown me. The visions of the future that I had glimpsed during my out-of-body experience began to make more sense. I realized that my survival was not just by chance, but part of a larger plan. I began studying intensely, absorbing information about geopolitics, climate change, technological advances, anything that could help me understand and possibly influence the events I had predicted. I felt a growing urgency, knowing that time was passing and that September 2024 was quickly approaching. At the same time, I worked to rebuild my relationship with Lily. Together, we learned to navigate our new reality, finding ways to honor Mira and Theo's memory as we moved forward. I shared parts of my experience with her, to the extent that I thought she could understand and accept it. As the months passed, I felt increasingly prepared for the mission that awaited me. I didn't know exactly what the future held, but I knew I had an important role to play. The transformation that had begun at the time of the accident was almost complete. I was no longer just Tristan Hawk, the Colorado farmer. He was a man with a divine purpose, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. Looking back, as I anxiously await the events of September 2024, I feel a mixture of apprehension and determination. I know that the challenges I will face will be immense, but I also know that I am not alone on this journey. I carry with me the strength of Mira's love, Theo's innocence, Lily's resilience, and the wisdom gained through my near-death experience. I am ready for whatever comes, ready to fulfill the purpose for which I was spared. The visions I saw during my near-death experience were not simple flashes or vague impressions. They were vivid, detailed scenes of future events, so real and tangible that I sometimes wonder if I haven't already lived them. These visions have been my constant companion since the accident, guiding my actions and shaping my understanding of what lies ahead. What I saw was a world on the brink of chaos. I saw powerful nations in conflict, their disputes threatening to escalate into global war. I saw extreme climate change causing devastation on an unprecedented scale, coastal cities submerged, entire regions becoming uninhabitable due to extreme heat or intense cold. I saw humanity struggling with pandemics, economic crises, and deep social divisions. But what struck me most were not just the challenges I saw, but the crucial role that ordinary individuals played in shaping the course of these events. I saw people coming together across borders, races, and beliefs to tackle these global challenges. I saw technological innovations emerging from unexpected places, offering solutions to problems that seemed insurmountable. And, most surprising of all, I saw myself in the middle of it all. Not as a great leader or public figure, but as a catalyst, someone whose timely action set off a chain reaction of events that altered the course of history. Visions are not always clear or easy to interpret. Sometimes they are fragmented and confusing, like pieces of a puzzle that I still can't completely put together. Other times, they are so clear that they seem more like a memory than a prediction. One vision in particular stands out. I see myself in a room full of world leaders. I'm sharing crucial information, warning of an impending crisis that no one else seems to have predicted. I can feel the weight of your decisions, knowing that millions of lives depend on your actions in the moments to come. Another recurring vision is of a revolutionary technological innovation. I don't fully understand the technical details, but I know it has the potential to solve our energy crisis and reverse some of the damage caused by climate change. I find myself working tirelessly to ensure this technology gets into the right hands, facing opposition from powerful interests who prefer to maintain the status quo. There are also more personal and intimate views. I find myself comforting people who have lost everything to natural disasters, sharing the wisdom I have gained through my own loss. I see myself mentoring young people, inspiring them to become agents of change in their communities. What's most intriguing is that all of these visions seem to converge on September 2024. I don't know exactly what will happen that month, but I feel like it will be a crucial turning point. The decisions made and the actions taken during this period will have repercussions that will echo for generations. Dealing with these views has not been easy. There are times when the weight of responsibility I feel is overwhelming. How can I, a simple Colorado farmer, influence events on a global scale? How can I be sure I am correctly interpreting what I saw? But then I remember Mira's words, the unconditional love I felt during my near-death experience, and I find the strength to carry on. I know I was not spared by chance. There is a purpose in all of this, even if I can't see the full picture yet. So, as the days pass and September 2024 approaches, I continue to prepare. I study, I inform myself, I make connections, I share my story with those who are willing to listen, hoping to plant seeds of change and hope. And above all, I remain open and receptive, ready to act when the moment is right. Because I know that when that moment comes, I will not be alone. I will be carrying with me not only my own experiences and knowledge, but also the wisdom and love of all those I have lost and all those I have met on my journey. And together, I have faith that we can make the difference the world so desperately needs. Fully understanding the mission entrusted to me has been an ongoing process since my near-death experience. At first, everything seemed hazy and overwhelming. How could I, an ordinary man who had just lost almost everything, play such a crucial role in the future of humanity? But as time passed and visions became clearer, I began to understand the depth and importance of my purpose. My mission, as I understand it now, is multifaceted. First and foremost, I am a messenger. I carry with me knowledge and insights about future events that can help humanity prepare for and potentially avoid some of the catastrophes I have seen. This means I need to find ways to share this information with the right people, at the right time, in a way they can understand and act on. Secondly, I am a catalyst for change. The visions showed me that small actions can have huge effects, like a stone thrown into a lake creating ripples that spread further and further. My role is to identify those critical moments where a word, an action, or a decision can trigger a positive chain reaction. Third, I am a bridge between worlds. My near-death experience gave me a unique perspective on life, death, and what lies beyond. It allows me to connect people, ideas, and realities in ways that others may not. I can help bring a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, promoting empathy and unity in an increasingly divided world. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, I am a keeper of hope. The visions I've had of the future are often dark and scary, but I've also seen the potential for change and redemption. My role is to keep that hope alive, even in the darkest moments, and inspire others to believe that we can create a better future. Fulfilling this mission has not been easy. There are days when the weight of responsibility seems overwhelming. I constantly deal with doubts. What if I am interpreting visions incorrectly? What if my actions cause more harm than good? What if I fail? But then I remember the peace and love I felt during my near-death experience. I remember Mira's look, full of confidence and faith in me. I remember Theo's innocent smile, a reminder of the purity and potential that exists in every life. And I find the strength to continue. The preparation to fulfill my mission has been intense and multifaceted. I dedicated myself to studying a wide range of subjects, from geopolitics and climate change to psychology and spirituality. I sought knowledge in books, online lectures, and conversations with experts in different fields. Each new learning seems to fit into a larger puzzle, helping me better understand the visions I had. At the same time, I have been working on developing my new intuitive skills. Through meditation and spiritual practices, I've learned to better tune into the energies around me, trust my instincts, and interpret the subtle signals that the universe seems to be constantly sending me. A crucial part of my preparation has been building a network of contacts and allies. I began to thoughtfully share my story with people I felt could understand and help. Surprisingly, many were receptive. I found scientists intrigued by my visions of technological advances, community leaders inspired by the message of hope and unity, and even some politicians willing to listen to my concerns about future events. As September 2024 approaches, I feel a growing urgency. The visions are becoming more frequent and more vivid. I clearly see a series of interconnected events that seem to converge on this period: environmental crises, geopolitical tensions, revolutionary technological advances. I know my actions during this time will be crucial, but despite the pressure and anxiety, I also feel a deep sense of purpose and peace. I understand now that my entire life, my joys and sorrows, my successes and failures, prepared me for this moment. The loss of Mira and Theo, although still painful, gave me a deep understanding of the value of life and the importance of each moment. I look at Lily, now a strong, compassionate young woman, and see in her the reflection of everything I'm fighting for. She is my anchor, constantly reminding me of what is at stake and why our mission is so important. As the days pass and the crucial moment approaches, I feel ready. I don't know exactly what the future holds, but I know that I will do everything in my power to fulfill the purpose for which I was spared. I carry with me Mira's love, Theo's innocence, Lily's strength, and the wisdom gained through my extraordinary journey. I am ready to face the challenges that lie ahead, to be the catalyst for change that the world needs. And although the path ahead is uncertain, I move forward with faith, hope, and the knowledge that I am not alone on this journey. Today, as I sit on my porch watching the sun set over the Colorado mountains, I feel a mix of emotions. The peace of this moment contrasts sharply with the turbulence of the visions I carry with me. The fresh mountain air fills my lungs, reminding me of the precious gift of life I almost lost. Lily is inside, preparing dinner. I hear the soft sound of her voice humming a melody, the same lullaby Mira used to sing to her when she was a baby. It's a bittersweet reminder of everything we've lost and everything we still have. The last few years since the accident have been a journey of discovery, healing, and preparation. Each day brought new challenges and revelations. I learned to balance my new reality, being a single father, dealing with my newfound abilities, and preparing for the mission that awaits me. My relationship with Lily has deepened in ways I never imagined possible. She is not only my daughter, but my confidant and partner on this extraordinary journey. I clearly see a series of events that appear to be lining up: drastic climate change, rising geopolitical tensions, technological advances that have the potential to change the course of human history. I have been working tirelessly to prepare. I spent countless hours studying, researching, making connections. I've built a network of contacts that includes scientists, community leaders, even some politicians who are willing to listen to my concerns about the future. But despite all this preparation, there are still moments of doubt. What if I'm not able to make the difference I need to make? What if my actions cause more harm than good? What if the visions are wrong? In these moments, I close my eyes and remember the feeling of peace and love I experienced during my near-death experience. I remember Mira's confident look, Theo's innocent smile, and I find the strength to continue. The anticipation for what is to come is almost palpable. I know the next few months will be crucial, not just for me, but potentially for all of humanity. The decisions we make, the actions we take, will have repercussions that will echo for generations. But amid all this anticipation and anxiety, I also feel a deep sense of purpose and peace. I understand now that my entire life has prepared me for this moment. The loss I've suffered, the pain I've experienced, the lessons I've learned, it's all shaped me for the role I'm about to play. I look at the horizon, where the last light of the day paints the sky in shades of orange and purple. It is a reminder of the beauty and fragility of our world, of the precious gift entrusted to us. And I reaffirm my commitment to do everything I can to protect and preserve this gift. I don't know exactly what the future holds. I don't know what challenges I will face or what sacrifices I will need to make. But I know I'm not alone on this journey. I carry with me Mira's love, Theo's innocence, Lily's strength, and the wisdom gained through my extraordinary experience. As the sun disappears behind the mountains, I feel a wave of determination wash over me. I'm ready for whatever comes. I'm ready to be the catalyst for change the world needs. And although the path ahead is uncertain, I move forward with faith, hope, and the certainty that every step I take has a greater purpose. The future is coming quickly, and I am ready to face it. As I near the end of this narrative, I realize that sharing my story has been a journey in itself, reliving each moment, from the tragic accident to my near-death experiences and the revelations that followed, has been both painful and cathartic. Looking back, I see how each event, each choice, each moment of pain and enlightenment brought me to this point. The loss of Mira and Theo, while still painful, taught me the true value of life and love. My near-death experience opened my eyes to realities beyond our everyday understanding. Visions of the future have given me a purpose and a mission that transcends my own existence. I realize now that my journey is a testament to the incredible potential for transformation that exists within each of us. I went from a simple Colorado rancher to someone with the responsibility to influence the course of human history. This transformation did not come without costs, but it showed me that we are capable of much more than we imagine. As September 2024 approaches, I feel a mixture of anxiety and anticipation. The visions I have been having are increasingly vivid and urgent. I see clearly the challenges we will face: climate change that threatens to displace millions, geopolitical tensions that could lead to global conflicts, technological innovations that have the power to save or destroy us. But I also see hope. I see people from all backgrounds coming together to face these challenges. I see the resilience of the human spirit, the creativity of our minds, and the compassion of our hearts. And I know that if we can channel these qualities, we have a chance to create a better future. My role in that future is still not entirely clear to me. I know that I will be called to act at critical moments, to share vital knowledge, to be a bridge between different worlds and perspectives. But I also know that I can't do this alone. Each of us has a role to play in shaping our collective future. Reflecting on my experience, I realized that the most important message I received was not about specific events or actions that need to be taken. It was about the fundamental interconnectedness of all things. I saw how our choices and actions have repercussions that extend far beyond our individual lives. I understood that every act of kindness, every conscious choice, every moment of understanding and empathy contributes to shaping the fabric of our reality. This understanding gives me hope, even in the face of the immense challenges we face, because it means each of us has the power to make a difference. Each of us carries within us the seed of change that our world so desperately needs. As I conclude this narrative, I want to leave you, the reader, with a message of hope and a call to action. No matter who you are or what your station in life is, you have a vital role to play in the unfolding of our collective story. Your choices, your actions, your compassion, and your love, they all matter more than you can imagine. As we approach this pivotal moment in our history, I ask you to reflect on your own journey. May you consider the unique ways you can contribute to a better future. May you cultivate compassion, seek understanding, and act with intention and love. Because in the end, that's what my experience taught me above all else. That love is the most powerful force in the universe. It is what connects us to each other and to the divine. It's what gives us the strength to face the biggest challenges and the courage to do what's right, even when it's difficult. As I look to the future, with all its dangers and possibilities, I hold on to this truth, and I invite you to do the same. Together, guided by love and understanding, we can navigate the challenges that lie ahead and create a future that honors the precious gift of life we share. Tomorrow is coming quickly, and each of us has a role to play in shaping it. I'm ready to do my part. You are? If you enjoyed this beautiful spiritual testimony, please leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the notification bell to watch every new video and help us spread this message to a wider audience. See you next time.